Yep.
Okay. James, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to start with the new album, Mechanical Animals. How would you describe it in sort of terms of musical style, content?
Well, this record kind of documents the numbness wearing off for me. So it's more of a personal album, and the music has kind of evolved to reflect the sentiments on the record. So there's a lot more dynamics, and it's a lot more organic. It has more skin on it than things that I've done in the past. And musically, I was inspired by things like Queen and David Bowie and T-Rex and the Beatles and things like that.
It's quite a move away from your last album, Antichrist Superstar, would you say? A complete move in the other direction, or?
Antichrist Superstar was kind of like an ugly and beautiful transformation, so it was a very extreme album. And this album is kind of a rebirth. It's kind of the result of that transformation.
But is it still really you? Although, say with your last record you were at a different stage, and now, so do they all reflect you at that stage of your life in a way?
Yeah, I think just as anyone changes as they begin to get older, art's going to change as well.
And the Dope Show, that's the new single off the album. The video is amazing. Did you have anything to do with the concept of the...
It was a collaboration between Paul Hunter, the director, and I.
And it's very, I don't know, Ziggy Stardust, A Man Who Fell to Earth. There's a lot of comparisons there. Did you sort of get a lot of inspiration from that?
Well, I guess Nick Rogue, the guy who wrote that story, and a lot of other science fiction stories, Brave New World, and the cartoon Fantastic Planet, a lot of those things were inspirational.
And you've moved to LA as well in the last year or so, haven't you? Did that sort of change your perception and take on things?
Well, Hollywood became the backdrop for this record, which is a lot about the alienation of rock stardom, kind of how you become disassociated from the real world. And so Hollywood was inspirational in that I couldn't really find myself fitting in.
You could or you couldn't?
I could not.
Right. Okay, but so why live there? Is it sort of...
Well, I kind of thrive in places that I don't belong usually.
Where do you feel you belong?
I'm better finding places that I don't belong, you know. I don't think there is a place that I belong necessarily.
And in a recent interview, the Kerrang one, which I just read, you cite yourself as some sort of saviour, like rock and roll saviour. What do you mean by this? Is that just a comment on the music scene at the moment?
Well, this album kind of assumes the identity of a savior as far as emotionally what I'm talking about. But as far as music goes, rock and roll is slowly becoming extinct, and this is probably the only album that can save that, because it's the only thing that has any sort of balls to it, really.
Right. And you've changed your image somewhat as well from the last sort of album and tour, but it's still a kind of mask in a way. Does that sort of help you when you're you have a sort of wear a mask? Does it sort of help you go on stage and
well,
be Marilyn Manson?
My image has always changed with each album, and the way I look is just another expression of who I am. You know, the music, my performance, the way I dress, that's all part of what I do.
And do you ever just sort of hang out in a tracksuit or anything, or is that just not part of your thing?
You know, I suppose when I go to sleep, you know, it's probably the only time when I'm not dressed, but that's it.
So do you ever sort of do normal things, like go to the shops or whatever?
Well, the things that I do I consider to be normal, you know, but everybody has their own lifestyle, so.
Okay. And earlier this year you published your book, the long, hard road out of hell. What made you do that? Was it just a money spinner or what? Why did you decide to bare your soul in a way?
It's kind of necessary for me after doing the album Antichrist Superstar to make a close to certain points in my life, kind of end the chapter. And writing the book gave me the time to examine, everything that had happened up until then. So it kind of helped me being reborn into something else.
I mean, it's a very frank and graphic account. What did you think when you read it back? Were you a bit sort of apprehensive as to how people that are mentioned in the book would feel about it?
No, I think it was important to be honest, even if it was just for entertainment's sake. But I have no regrets, and if the people that did the things they did in the book are ashamed of it, then that's something they have to live with, not me.
And there's nothing that you're ashamed of in the book?
No.
Right. And what's the response been to it in America? Because they get quite hysterical about every move you make, it seems.
It's hard to say. I mean, it was a bestseller, but I haven't really. I suppose it gave people. It kind of put an end to a lot of rumors, but it also created a lot of new ones. So.
Okay. Do you? Obviously, you don't purposely go out there and shock, or do you? Is that sort of part of your thing? You want to sort of show extremes in sort of anything that you're involved in?
I like to provoke people to think, and hopefully what I do inspires them to be creative too. That's really all that you can do with art, is to inspire other people, make them feel something. So if I create something extreme, I hope the reaction is extreme too.
Right. And do you ever feel conscious of, because obviously you've got a lot of fans and people that sort of worship you in a way and hang on your every word, does that ever make you wary of what messages you put out there? Or do you not think that's your responsibility?
I think it's everyone's responsibility. If you want to be able to see and hear whatever you like, then you have to also accept the responsibility to interpret that properly. So I think I'm just responsible to be honest and to be true to myself.
Do you get that? Sorry.
I think I mostly have a responsibility to be true to what I do and to be honest in my work. The way people interpret it is up to them. If we want to live in a society where you have art, then people need to be intelligent enough to interpret it properly.
But sometimes, do you think that people use art as a sort of a label on things just to excuse themselves, a bit like the Catholics when they do a sin and then they go to confession on a Saturday and they think it's all right? People label a lot of things art when I personally don't think that they are art. I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying generally.
Well, people use a lot of, I think people use the word religion more as an escape or morality. But those are a lot of the things that I like to break down and analyze and kind of present to people so that they consider them differently. And I do that with music as well, I also criticize, myself and my work.
And how long did this album take to make, by the way?
About
did it come
5
after
months
the
or so.
Was it after the book, after you've sort of gone through this sort of cathartic?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
About 5 months.
Right. And is it quite autobiographical in the sort of lyrical sense?
I think it's very much to deal with my future, and it's very personal, and it's. I see it as a dystopia that is about me trying to put back together the left and right side of my brain that I've spent years separating. So it's kind of it's got two personalities to it. One, the sarcastic look at Hollywood and the way the world views me and the way that I deal with it, and the other side is kind of what's beneath that, and the darker, I guess, the lonelier side of rock stardom.
Why do you find it quite lonely then?
At times, yeah.